Artemus Toast here, and I'm coming from the workshop. Had the day off from the studio, so I decided I was gonna, work on a project I saw on the YouTubes. Basically, this is kind of I'm doing kind of a trial prototype run. I already started the process. I'll show it to you in a second, but um, to get to the point, if you've ever seen one of those, it looks like a floating spigot, pouring water into a flower pot or what have you. Um, you know, it involves a water pump, and it creates the illusion that the spigot is just floating there and just, magically pouring water into a flower pot. Um, 1 second, I'm going to show you what I've found out about making one so far. Okay, starting off, I found this cheap kind of flower pot it's metal, at a place called Ollie's. It's a chain. They have cheap stuff. It was only $3.99. The first thing I noticed, I watched a couple videos of people that made these. I've been seeing people drill the hole large enough to get the plug through, and already I don't like that idea. I think it would have been more effective to, cut the wire, and then, run the wire through so you could drill a smaller hole, and then you're using less epoxy. And that this is a prototype, a dry run. That's why this looks horrible. The pump itself, kind of hard to see there, but this is the pump I found. I found it on the Amazons for $7.99. It's a in-water, pump. So, essentially, it's going to pump water up to the spigot, and it pours back down, which creates the illusion of just a running faucet that, isn't attached to anything. I got the spigot at Lowe's. One thing I think is going to be another problem thus far is I could not find a hard, clear plastic, piece of tubing that could support the weight of the faucet. And the faucet is kind of heavy. It's currently setting right now. It's not dry. That has to cure for up to 24 hours. That's another thing I could have used something a little bit faster or much faster. The epoxy, of course, is, the kind that you need, and it cures pretty fast. It'll allow me to see if any water leaks out. But once again, the premise is, it's going to be held up by this piece of tubing. It's kind of hard to see. The light's not very good, but you see where the that piece of tubing is going to attach itself to the pump. So once again, pumping water up through the tube, hits inside the faucet and then pours down the tube, once again creating the illusion that it's just a floating magic spigot spewing water. Another thing I did is I went to the local Dollar Tree store, and for $3 plus tax, I was able to get these stones. So once everything's put together, the spigot is attached via that tube to the pump. At that point, those rocks will go into the flower pot, and then water will go in, and that will create the process, the cycling of the water with the pump. But once again, going back to the point in this video is, I would recommend, drilling a smaller hole and, obviously cutting the wire far away from where the water is, up by the outlet part itself. And then, properly, fastening the wire together with connectors, maybe even, heat shrink, just to make sure it's waterproof and safe, because you're dealing with electricity. But all in all, I'll do an update on the project. Obviously when I was doing the epoxy, I got it everywhere. Another quick side note, what I used E6000 clear, transparent, flexible adhesive to hold the tube inside this spigot, and I used JB Weld's water weld epoxy putty for this part, and I can't stress it enough. It'd be much more attractive and less chance for leaks if you just drill a hole small enough for the wire to go through, obviously by cutting the wire and then properly fastening the wire back together. But I'll provide an update in the near future once everything cures, and kind of point out the bugs. Once again, a lot of people build these on the internets and on the YouTubes, and this is kind of once again a trial run to see where it could be improved, or like a real world application instead of a minute video of everything working perfectly. And once again, an update will be coming soon from the shop, on this floating magical fountain thingy that I'm working on. Artemus Toast out.